Hello guys, Figure97 here. Today I want to speak about one of my favorite artists, maybe my favorite one, together with Oda, the mangaka from the manga One Piece. Funny side note, in One Piece there's also a character based on Eminem. It's called Enaru in English, I guess, or in Japan. In German it's engl. Yeah, so there's even a connection between them. Yeah, so today we speak about Eminem. Yeah, let's start. He was born in 1972 in Missouri. Because of money problems, they have to move always, so he gets when he was very young, he came always to different schools, and he was always the new one. And because he was the new one, the new students often, or the other people in school often bullied him for it, just because he was the new one. And I maybe have to go it first deeper in like who is he, or what's his real name, and what is the family situation he was placed in. Eminem's real name is Marshall Bruce Mathers III, and as a child, when he becomes an artist and a rapper, he calls himself first Eminem for Marshall Mathers. And because there's the factory, there's the, I cannot say, M&M's, the food, and because he was thinking maybe there are some problems then with that, because his name is Eminem and they are selling M&M's, so he called himself later Eminem. Yeah. And also very an important name you have to know when it comes to Eminem is Slim Shady. It's also Eminem. I come later to the reason why he named himself Slim Shady. So yeah, as I said, the family often had to move when he was young, because they don't had often the money to stay where they were placed in, to pay the rent, yeah. So I come to his family situation. His father left the family when he was a baby, so he was raised by his mother, Deborah Mathers, also called Debbie. And yeah, also he had an uncle who was only 2 years older than him, named Ronnie. And yeah, it was a little bit strange for maybe some people from the outside seeing it, because it was just this 2-year difference, and the mother of Eminem was only 17 when she gets Eminem, so like very young. So they often say they were like brothers or something, or they often maybe thought they are like brothers, but this was his uncle. And for Marshall Mathers, Ronnie was like a brother, an uncle, and a brother, a best friend, and a father figure also, because he had no father. So yeah, Later they stayed, or the whole family, like even with Ronnie and his mother, they stayed in Warren, Detroit, and they're most part of his life they're growing up in Warren, Detroit. Yeah. And Warren, Detroit was like the most people who lived there were Afro-Americans, and they were very used to hip-hop and stuff like that, and so Ronnie became familiar with hip-hop and bring Marshall always to hip-hop then. And so they were a duo at first, and hearing hip-hop, listening to hip-hop, and write some texts when they were 12, I guess, or 14. Yeah. Marshall had like a love-hate relationship with his mother, and he had a few problems in school. He even left school when he was 17. And yeah, and his mother let him not live at his home then anymore, so he had to live on his own, and so he started to have a few jobs, but later we come to this. Always really important person in his life were Kim. I don't know her last name, but when he was maybe 15 or so, two girls who have very difficult backgrounds, they are living by him and his mother. One is called Kim, and I don't know what the other one is called, but Kim becomes really important because they began a relationship, and later Kim was his wife, and so I just know her as Kim Mathers. Yeah, and later she becomes his ex-wife. Okay, so when he was 17, I told you already, he left school. He because he wasn't so good and so concentrated on school at this time, he had other problems. Yeah, so he left it, and even since 14 or so, he began to rap often, and when he stands on his own, he had a few jobs like in restaurants or something, and he take orders, but he also in his free time he always rapped or go to rap battles. They had some places where you just, one place, I don't know, where you just can go and you can battle rap against other rappers, so he made his name as in the underground as a battle rapper. Yeah, and so he stayed alone with his girlfriend, later wife, Kim, and they had always a love-hate relationship, and later she became pregnant with his daughter Haley, and yeah, he was living a little bit like before because he had a lot of jobs, but he had a lot of trouble, like he had not so much money or can't always afford the apartment where he stayed, so they often had to move. Yeah, and then he had a little bit of a hard time when his uncle Ronnie later shot himself with a shotgun, because he had also a difficult life, and also the girlfriend he had or so left him. So he began. He make a suicide. And Eminem never stopped like dreaming of being famous and a big rapper. Yeah. So he always raps, and he came to a group later. They were called the 12. You know, there were 6 people in this group. 5 were Afro-Americans and Marshall. One really important. I mean, they're all kind of important, but kind of, I have the feeling the leader of the group was called Proof. And there we came to why Marshall Mathers Eminem called himself Slim Shady, because they on one point they decided that every rapper of this group should give himself an alter ego, you know. And this alter ego is like, for instance, by Eminem, very famous for like being very, very rude or make fun of people, you know. And Eminem's alter ego was Slim Shady. So he always make music and rap of his own, but also now in this group when he have time for it. And he wasn't so sure if he's really good or not, and so he decided to make to rap in a rap tournament. It's called Rap Olympics, and it was a very big one, you know, and from all over the place, not just from Detroit, I guess, or I don't know, but I think from everyone who heard from this tournament, you know, it was a very big tournament, and he had even problems to get the flight to get there. I think somebody paid for him, and so we get to the tournament, to the Rap Olympics, and see if he's really skilled enough, you know. He always wanted to be a music rap star, hip hop star, and in this tournament a lot of people said he was the best, but he only gets second place. A lot of people said because, you know, hip hop belongs to Afro-Americans, and they don't want a white rapper to win in this tournament. So a lot of people say he was the best, but he gets in the second place. And even though he gets not even the prize, well, I think a lot of money or something, even though he didn't get the prize and he didn't win this tournament. He knows then, you know, I'm really good at what I'm doing. And even before, I think he find his manager, who is his manager even nowadays. His name is Paul Rosenberg. He was a rapper before, but then he studied law and and becomes then Eminem's manager. And after these Rap Olympics, I have to say, I think even before the Rap Olympics was, but I'm not really sure in the timeline, so what happened before and what's happened then. But I think he maybe even before produced his first album called Infinite, but it was not so well viewed. Also, he didn't become a star when Infinite comes out. It's not so, yeah. There were just a few copies and that's it. He didn't become famous because of Infinite. But this was his first album. Yeah. And after, I think, the Rap Olympics, he had a mix. I think he even began to work on a second album, but I'm not really sure. But he have like a album who he showed everybody, where he had a mix of some rap songs he made, you know. And after, I think, the Rap Olympics, he gave it to someone who finds the rap, who thinks the rap, what he was making, or his music that he was seeing there by the Rap Olympics was very awesome. And so he gave him his tape, which he give always to people like who who are interested in his music and his rap style. And he give it to them, and he give it to another person, and so it comes to later to Dr. Dre, you know, who was a very famous rapper even before, but was a little bit in a crisis. And he saw the CD and was like seeing he was happy to, you know, he liked it, and then he invites Eminem, and as soon as he invites him, they make a little bit of a rap session, and Dr. Dre liked it, and so he has him now as his mentor, and shows him everything about the everything he knows, and he knows a lot. He was famous before about the rap industry, and then they made Eminem's second album, the Slim Shady LP, and you know, then Eminem begins to rise and becomes famous and everything. And there was a 1997, his first album, I forgot to mention it, was produced in 1996, and his second album, the Slim Shady LP with Dr. Dre, was produced in 1999, and then Eminem becomes famous, and later 1 year later, in 2000, comes the Marshall Mathers LP, and then 2002 the Eminem Show. And these two albums are often, or a lot of people say they were the best rap albums were ever produced. Yeah. And then 2002 also there comes 8 Mile and Lose Yourself, and he becomes, that was his prime time, you can say. I mean, he's even now very famous and stuff like that, but this was like, he was it, in that time. Yeah. So what happened to him personally? As I said, he has a love-hate relationship with his wife, Kim Mathers, or Kimberly, and she gets pregnant, and he becomes a father to Haley Mathers. And that was in the beginning of his career, in the beginning of his fame. She was, I think, a baby. Yeah, it's very important to know all the stuff for his songs, because otherwise you cannot get his lyrics really. He also adopted later two other children, who were also girls, one daughter of his ex-wife Kim, but he wasn't the father, and another one, but this was not from his ex-wife. So he had 3 daughters, and I think everybody was fine with that, because he can, because of his enormous fame he had, with his money. He had money and stuff, and he could he had other possibilities for the kids, so they were fine with it. And in the beginning of his career there was a lot of controversy because in his music, because of his lyrics, because of he say stuff like you normally wouldn't say. And then there were a few conflicts with the law, and his love-hate relationship with his mother and with his ex-wife Kim, he put that in songs. At first he more dissed them, later, and very much later he apologized for it. He apologized for it in other songs, and yeah, we come to that, I guess, more when I get really into the songs. There were even a few people who don't like, that he's a white dude making hip-hop and becomes so famous, so there was a lot of tension and a lot of battling and diss tracks, and but we come to that when I get into the songs. But I think that's really interesting to know. You have to know it to understand the lyrics. Also very important is that later Proof died, what was very hard for Eminem, because he was the mentor, I don't know, mentor, but he was a good friend, and that has also a big impact, and you see it in his songs. Yeah, I don't know if I missed something, think that's all for it right now. Maybe I make a few videos to get more deep into the themes, and when it comes to his music and his lyrics, that I can explain it better, you know. What I want to say, again, especially with Kim, is very important, his relationship, because they were together, then they were not together, then they were like, she had sex with another man, you know, and so the relation was over. And he make a song called Kim, where he like put all the shit out, or all the hate for his ex-wife out, or his feelings in that time. And later they come together again, and then they broke up, and later he had like a little relationship to Mariah Carey, but she denied it. And then there was a little bit of, or there was tension between them. And the big thing is like, Mariah Carey had a boyfriend at the time, Nick Cannon, and even nowadays, like, they are in a clinch. Even now, it's coming more from Nick Cannon than from Eminem. Yeah, I think that's it for today. And what's really interesting also is like Dr. Dre. I mean, he's really Dr. Dre. Eminem is really. They're really becoming not just business partners, even good friends to Dr. Dre. And Dr. Dre is like, he always said he kind of saved his life, because without Dr. Dre he maybe never became famous. And the same what is for Dr. Dre for Eminem. It's Eminem later for 50 Cent in a way, because he helps him and 50 becomes famous, and again he was kind of famous, but then he was in a crisis, and then Eminem helped them. So it's also a very important friendship they had. And even now he becomes so famous on his own. He makes a few songs, he made a few songs also with D12, and later he becomes part of Bad Meets Evil, it's called. It's two rappers. One is Eminem and the other one is Royce the 95. I hope that's right. Yeah, no, another Detroit rapper. I think that's it for today. I will get more into the theme, videos I upload later on, but that's it for now, and I hope you know now more about the rapper and we can get into his music. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed to watch the video. Bye bye.